straight into the roof of the net. Nice one. Straight down the middle. So a good performance from both teams.
Hi, I'm Rupha Ramani and you're watching Firstpost. Let's get started. Now, can the absence of superstars in sporting outfits impact the teams or the intensity of the face-offs? For example, James Anderson is back to spearhead the England cricket team's bowling attack in the second test against India, instantly making that attack look so much more threatening. But can an under-fire Indian skipper who's shutting out all the wagging tongues give it back to level the scores? Contrastingly, how much will the absence of Cristiano Ronaldo in that last dance pitted against Messi affect the intensity of that clash? Well, this one is pretty much a no-brainer. But what can we expect from the face-off in Riyadh? And speaking of face-offs, Manchester United is seeing a lot of it. But it's mostly between the manager and his players. This time it is Rashford who's facing all the ire from Erik Ten Hag. All of this lined up in the show today, but first, a look at the headlines from Sports 360. We'll start with football. In the AFC Asian Cup, Iran survived a scare from underdog Syria. The match moved into penalties after a 1-1 draw at the end of extra time. Syria were then knocked out after losing to Iran 3-5 on penalties. With that, Iran have secured their quarter-final spot where four-time champions Japan awaits them. Over in the English Premier League, Liverpool thumped Chelsea 4-1 and remain at the top of the points table with 51 points. Giving them competition are Manchester City, who beat Burnley 3-1. City are second in the points table with 46 points. While it was heartbreak for Chelsea, their London rivals Tottenham Hotspur had a field day. Spurs scored thrice to beat Brentford 3-2, and with this win, they jumped to fourth position. After his sweaty World Cup winning match jerseys, Lionel Messi's contract with Barcelona, which was written on a napkin, will be up for auction. It was back in 2000 when the Argentine talisman was just 13 years old. According to British auction house Morhams, the historic napkin is expected to fetch at least over $380,000. The contract was signed between Barca's then sporting director, Messi's father, and his agent. Over to news from Paris Olympics. Crowd estimates for the opening ceremony have dropped down to 300,000 spectators. This is around half as many as what was previously expected. The French government announced that it cut the crowd size owing to security threats. The opening ceremony is on the 26th of July and will have a 6-kilometer-long parade along the River Seine. An Indian sailor, Vishnu Saravanan, has qualified for the 2024 Paris Olympics, the first to do so. It's a massive achievement. The 24-year-old finished 26th out of 152 participants in the ILCA 7 World Championship. Vishnu represented India at the Tokyo Olympics. Most recently, he won bronze at last year's Asian Games. Now, the Indian cricket team captain is facing the heat. It's not something new for any Indian captain. It's a crown of thorns, and whoever wears it knows that the criticisms are just as much in measure as the love and praises that they get. India managed to lose the first test match. The reason's pretty plain and simple. The Indian batting has been dismal. They have failed to negotiate the very conditions that is almost second skin to them. And England played with a lot of heart. The young spinners in particular managed to create a lot of inroads and did not lose their hope despite having setbacks through the 4 days. The resilience was commendable. Nevertheless, the Indian team arrived in the southern city of Visakhapatnam in great spirits. Rohit Sharma has been a man under pressure for many years now, and he knows that it's going to be another rough ride for him and his squad. India is in a position that they never wanted to find themselves in, done in by their own conditions. And experts and former cricketers have been quick to jump in on the let's point the finger and start the blame game. The most harsh remarks have come from none other than former England captain Michael Vaughan.
I thought Rohit Sharma's captaincy was very, very average. I thought he was so reactive. I don't think he maneuvered his field or was proactive with his bowling changes. And he didn't have any answer to Ollie Pope's sweeps or reverse sweeps.
Now, let's face it, Ollie Pope played a blinder of a knock. It completely infused life into the contest, into the English spine. and in more ways than one deflated the Indian attack. There was no countermeasures, and once Pope settled in, there were no turning back from that point on. It was a mature knock, and we can't take that away from him, despite India probably missing some creative out-of-the-box thinking. But Vaughan doesn't stop there.
They missed Virat Kohli's captaincy massively in Test cricket. Under Virat's captaincy that week, India wouldn't have lost the game. Rohit is a legend and a great player, but I felt he just switched off completely.
Now, Michael Vaughan probably did not remember that India won a crucial series against Australia in Australia with Ajinkya Rahane helming the affairs for India alongside Virat Kohli. It wasn't just Virat's captaincy alone that won them a historic series there. So even though it is safe to say India missed the services of a Virat Kohli as long as the batting is concerned, maybe Rohit Sharma is more than capable of leading an Indian test outfit. Rohit has been through a lot of turmoil, yes, in the last few months, whether it is in the ODI format, with the disheartening loss at the World Cup final, whether it's in the shortest format. He just lost his captaincy of the Mumbai Indians franchise, which is a part of the Indian Premier League, to Hardik Pandya. And of course, in tests, he now faces a rejuvenated England side. But knowing him, this would not faze him. He is keeping his head in the right space to counter anything that comes along. In fact, at the pre-match press conference today, a teammate of his, KS Bharat, said that the team was looking in good spirits, they were looking confident, and were in a positive space heading into that second test. So nothing should really bother Rohit Sharma, including Jeffrey Boycott calling him someone who's past his prime. He says Indian captain makes pretty cameos, but is inept when it comes to test cricket. He points out that Rohit's test record is not that great, that he's only managed to score 200s in the last 4 years at home. Now, it was not Rohit alone who flattered to deceive. Shreyas Iyer, Shubman Gill, as well as KL Rahul did not really make the big knocks that could have countered an old Ollie Pope magnificence. Coming to the second encounter that is starting this Friday, both teams are going in with some changes. We'll look at India first. It's highly likely that Rajat Patidar or Sarfaraz Khan, whom we've been talking about, will get a go-ahead in place of the injured KL Rahul in the 11. And most probably, Washington Sundar could be given a place instead of the injured Ravindra Jadeja. Now, if we look at some of his test credentials, he's played only a few test matches, but I really distinctly remember some of those coming at stark contrast. He, in fact, had a very good run against Australia in particular in that series that India ended up winning. And of course, this could spice things up for the Indian team. New faces with new vigour could bring in a fresh intensity to this battle. England has announced their 11 for the second test, and no surprises here. The man who had a traumatic experience at the UAE airport had to fly back to the UK and then, of course, return to India once he got his visa during the first test, will get a dream debut. Shoaib Bashir has come in place of Jack Leach. Leach hurt himself during the first test, and that has given another youngster a look in. And how's this for more excitement and pressure? But for the Indian batters, James Anderson comes back into the 11 in place of Mark Wood. That is sure to just amp up any attack in the world. And from all reports going around, word is that the Indian team will continue. India will, of course, continue to back their plan, which is spin it to win it. That is what they have always done at home. It's something that has worked for them in the past, and they feel there is no reason it wouldn't, despite the blip in the first test. So expect another heady contest. This time around as well, there will be more fire and more energy because there's a lot at stake here. The hosts need to get back their edge of being a tough team to beat at home, and England need to prove their one stroke in Hyderabad was not a one-off wonder. Now, Cristiano Ronaldo versus Lionel Messi, a rivalry for the ages. It's a rivalry that's gone on for over 2 decades, and why not? They are two exceptional players who continue to compete at the highest level. Once Cristiano Ronaldo made that move to Saudi Arabia and Lionel Messi looked westward to further his football passion with the Major League Soccer, we thought their paths would never cross. But there was something for everyone to rejoice. Inter Miami, as you know, have travelled over to play some friendlies over to Riyadh, and it's got fans going crazy. Al Nassr is set to lock horns with Messi's Inter Miami later tonight. The hype was building about the time since November when social media went abuzz to build up to this particular game, dubbed as the last dance, the encounter between Ronaldo and Messi. Now, a few years ago, not many would have given this a thought that Al Nassr versus Inter Miami would be such an anticipated game, especially for the presence of these two superstars. But there was just one little snag. Will the packed stadium and hungry fans waiting to see the two legends come face to face actually see that happening? Is the last dance on track? Well, Messi is here, we know. A couple of days ago, and there were visuals of the star footballer landing in Riyadh, and they were splashed all over, getting everyone nervous with excitement. But there have been no similar sightings or any starry welcome for Ronaldo. A few days back, the Portugal star suffered a muscle injury, and it was heartbreaking. Al Nassr called off their much-anticipated China tour as well. Fans were furious. Organisers, of course, have promised a rescheduling of the same. Ronaldo put out a personal message to all of his fans in China. It was, of course, disappointing, and that's putting it mildly. Ronaldo, in fact, was even seen with his left calf wrapped in one of Al Nassr's training videos, and that's when the talk started. What if Ronaldo misses the much-awaited Clash of the Year? In fact, all promotions were still on, billing this as the Clash of the Legends. Fans have been nervous, rightfully so. Despite all the uncertainty hanging over the match, the enthusiasm and excitement was still present. In fact, what got fans a little hopeful was this picture. Ronaldo posted a topless pic of him on social media handle with the caption, "Thankful for the blessings," and that put all speculations back in the forefront. Was Ronaldo in fact coming back and going to feature in the game? Was he trying to stay fully fit? But hate to break all of that bubble. Last night, Al Nassr manager Luis Castro sent out a heartbreaking update. He said that
Cristiano is in the final stage of his recuperation before rejoining the team. We expect that in the next few days, he will start working with the team. So obviously, it will mean he is absent for the game.
Yes, he said that Ronaldo was in fact on his road to recovery and he wouldn't be taking the field against Inter Miami, and that face-off that we've all been waiting for wouldn't be happening. Talk about a wet blanket. The exclusion of Ronaldo is a massive blow, but does that make things easier for Inter Miami? We don't think so. They will still be under pressure given their recent run, especially after their loss against Al Hilal just a couple of nights ago, despite a valiant fight back. They have failed to register victory in their last 11 games. They lost on 7 occasions and have managed to draw 4. The last victory, in fact, came months back against Toronto in September 2023. Let's quickly take a peek at where they are up against Al Nassr. How does Al Nassr shape up? They're on a roll. They have won 8 of their last 11 matches, lost once, and pulled out draws on 2 occasions. Not bad. On top of that, they are second in the Saudi Pro League rankings behind Al Hilal with a 7 points difference. So on the face of it, the contest against Al Nassr will be a tough one for Inter Miami, despite Ronaldo's absence. Now you can imagine how emotionally defeated they would anyway be, given the two players have dazzled every time they've played against each other. Their time in the Spanish league, La Liga, was quite intense too. A time when El Clasico, the battle between Real Madrid and Barcelona, was similar to a battlefield. The two players are record breakers and have proved their mettle on the biggest stage. While Ronaldo flourished in Champions League, Messi dominated the Spanish league. It was a battle of evens. Stars like Xavi, Iniesta, Suarez, Neymar, Alves accompanied Messi at Barcelona, whereas Ronaldo had the support of Benzema, Cruz, Pepe, Bale, Ramos and Modric. If the competition was so intense, so was the performance of Ronaldo and Messi. Messi has 821 club and country goals in 1,047 matches, whereas Ronaldo has 873 club and country goals in 1,204 matches. Messi, however, pips Ronaldo in the number of assists. He has 361 to that of Ronaldo's 249. No wonder fans were waiting for this mega clash and were hopeful they would get to witness the two rolling back the years. The upcoming friendly was awaited for some off-the-field drama as well. We know Ronaldo, much like us, has been watching all the awards being handed out to Messi from the sidelines. He did so rather quietly at first, with the occasional interaction on social media to show what he really felt. Ronaldo liked fans' posts of questioning whether Messi deserved to win the award. All of this created quite a bit of stir. Ronaldo not only liked the comment but also commented on it. That's not all. He also liked and commented on a video where a journalist was questioning Messi's Ballon d'Or. then of course came right out to say that FIFA's awards have lost their credibility. Massive allegations. But does that mean things are sour between the two? In the past, they have shown respect towards each other. On occasions, both have praised each other as well. But you'd agree it's an uncomfortable relationship. Their fans are such that what existed between, say, a Rafael Nadal and a Roger Federer across the tennis court really cannot exist here. No wonder a player from Al Hilal imitating Ronaldo's shoe celebration during the game against Messi was criticized by Messi fans, to the point that he actually had to apologize, saying that was not his intention to taunt. So even if the two stars decide to hash it out and get a little more friendly, I think the fans won't have any of it. But now, Ronaldo will be watching the game from the sidelines. We also hope maybe he'll probably surprise his team and be there at the stadium. He's done that in the past. There won't be Messi versus Ronaldo in Saudi Arabia tonight, but fans will still be hopeful that there could be a close fight coming up sometime later. Manchester United's manager Erik Ten Hag, the strict disciplinarian as we know, is in the news again. This time he's at loggerheads with another superstar player in the ranks, Marcus Rashford. Reports said that Rashford was out partying. He was at a nightclub in Belfast. Rashford then reported himself ill and missed a training session. Later, Ten Hag removed him from an FA Cup match. And when asked about Rashford's absence, Ten Hag responded saying he will deal with it. Of course, Erik Ten Hag has had a very colourful stint with the Red Devils, and this run-in with Rashford is just the latest chapter in Hag's series of tiffs with players in the squad, starting, of course, with Cristiano Ronaldo.
Manchester United's Newport County win last week wasn't as comfortable as it should have been. But then again, it's a new Manchester United we're speaking of, one that doesn't quite know what winning resoundingly looks like. When a giant like the Red Devils play against a club that's 3 divisions below them, it isn't supposed to be as nervy as it ultimately was. Yet, all of this was forgotten because the bigger issue was not Manchester United struggling, but why Marcus Rashford was absent in the game. Rashford said he was ill and couldn't train with the team before the match. Hours before Rashford called in sick, images of him at a nightclub in Belfast started doing the rounds. It's reported that he was partying in Belfast, something that clearly didn't sit well with the strict Erik Ten Hag. Rashford then faced the manager's wrath. He was dropped from the United lineup for the Newport County match. Ahead of that playoff, Ten Hag refused to clear any sort of speculations or respond to Rashford's absence. So was Rashford removed from the squad as punishment? Ten Hag didn't say it out loud. The incident is being treated as an internal matter which Manchester United is dealing with. But you could pretty much hear it. Reports say Rashford was fined over $800,000 by Manchester United as punishment. That's approximately 2 weeks of his pay. A waitress named Sarah Adair, who partied with him, said Rashford was so drunk he needed help getting out of the pub and into his bed. Manchester United said that Rashford has taken accountability for his actions. He's available for United's trip to Wolverhampton. For now, though, the incident seems to be shut. It's not been a very pleasant ride for the manager Ten Hag. When he joined in 2022, he said the club lacked a good culture. No surprises that Ten Hag has had enough of run-ins at Old Trafford already, like with Jadon Sancho, who was exiled from the squad. Hag had earlier claimed that Sancho was not at his peak form. Sancho had vehemently disagreed, saying he was being made the scapegoat. That row ended in a bitter note with the two separating. In fact, earlier this month, Jadon Sancho returned to Borussia Dortmund on loan. Ironically, it's the same team Manchester United had signed him from for a fee of about $100 million in one of the highest transfer fees in the history of the Premier League. How can we forget the whole saga involving Cristiano Ronaldo and Ten Hag? United terminated his contract just before Portugal's World Cup campaign in 2022. Ronaldo had given an explosive interview to Piers Morgan thereafter, where he openly criticized Ten Hag. He said he didn't respect Erik Ten Hag and his methods. During a match against the Tottenham Hotspurs in 2022, Ronaldo, who was called in as a substitute, refused to take the field when he was called on in the 89th minute. Since that episode, he was dropped from the squad. So conflicts and Ten Hag are clearly companions. He doesn't like his authority undermined, and for that he goes to any extent. Coming back to the recent episode, When asked about the differing treatment of Sancho and Rashford, Ten Hag said, "First of all, the players at this level need to manage themselves. That's what you can demand from the player. We can sort out everything internally." Giron chose to go public. Rashford has been in sticky situations in the past too, so this blow-up was waiting to happen. He has repeatedly broken the rules that Ten Hag likes to maintain. If such firms continue to exist in the dressing room, the question is, who will break first, the players or the manager?
Now, before we wrap up the show, it's time for Last Serve. The focus is on 2024 AFCON. If you remember, Ivory Coast had fired their manager right after they lost one of the matches, but then ended up making it to the knockouts as well. But of course, the fans are still celebrating because they've had a wonderful victory, upsetting Senegal. Look at them celebrate. How fans celebrate in Africa. It's quite crazy to see those kind of celebrations. But that does it here on Firstpost. Hope you enjoyed this edition as much as we did bringing it to you. I'll see you again tomorrow with more such perspectives. Till then, bye-bye.